Hello everyone. My name is Abhishek, and I'm a research software engineer in the visual geometry group. Today we will talk about manual annotation of images and videos. Manual annotation is the process of defining and describing regions in an image or a video. As you see in this video, I'm drawing a region, and then I'm describing that region using metadata. So that's what we mean by manual annotation. And then in this talk today, we will discuss about manual annotation using a tool called VIA. So VIA is a set of lightweight tools for manual annotation of images and videos. The VGG has been developing, maintaining, and supporting VIA since 2016. And in this talk today, we will talk about two things. The first is, first part of the presentation, I'll demonstrate different use cases of VIA. And in the second part, I'll talk about how VIA is being used in different research projects. And then in this talk, you can stop me and then ask me questions during the presentation. So let's move on to the first part, where I will demonstrate different features of VIA. So the first demonstration is about basic image annotation. So let me show you a demo. So I'm trying to bring up the screen. So this is a folder view. I have two things. One is I have an image, and then I have a VIA application. So this is 390 kilobytes. I'm opening this application in a new browser window. So this is what the VIA application is. Now the first step is I add the images that I want to annotate. So this is the example image I've chosen here. I've added this image. And now I start to define regions that I want to describe. So I have just drawn a rectangle. I could choose any other shape. Now I'm selecting polygon, and then I'm drawing a polygon around this object. Once I have defined the regions, I can define different attributes of these regions. So now I'm defining attributes that I want to describe. So first is I want to define the caption of this image. So this attribute is called caption. And I say that caption is an attribute of a file. So on the top, you'll see that the caption has appeared there. So I can define the caption. The second thing that I want to describe is the type of the region that I've just created. So let me close this. So the type is an attribute of an image region. So for example, a bounding box. So I select this type here. And I want it to be drop down. So I can say, what are the options for the drop down? So one is object and the other is reflection. So these are the two things that I want to annotate. Now I'm defining the caption now. So I can write something. So about in a pond. So this is the caption I just defined. I can minimize it, and then I can describe the properties of these regions. So I could select one of these. So I'm selecting this as an object, and this, the second one, as the reflection of it. So this is the basic annotation that you can do on an image. And once you have done, you can export your annotations in different ways. So one is a CSV. It's a comma separated value text file. So now I'm exporting it as a CSV. The export is done, and now I'm opening the exported file in a text editor. So you'll see here the name of the image, and then the coordinates of the rectangular bounding box. And these are the coordinates of the polygon that I defined. And then this is the caption that I defined for the image. So this is a basic export file, but you can export a lot of different things. One interesting feature of VIA is that you can not only annotate your local images, but you can also annotate your remote images. So, for example, let me find an image. So this is an image that is on Wikipedia. So I'm trying to find a link for this image. So this is the URL. Now I can add this URL as well here. So here I add, and I'm now adding the URL. So this is the URL, and then I say add. And you'll see that the image has been added. Now I can do the same annotation in this image as well. So for VIA, local and remote images do not differ. You can do everything with both these two types of images. So that was basic image annotation. And then this is what we just saw. So we can add local and remote images. We can draw regions of different shape, rectangle, polygon, points. We can also define different types of attributes. It could be for file, for example, caption or spatial regions. And the attributes can be different types. So it could be a drop-down, a checkbox, or a plain text entry. And then finally, you can export all your annotation work in CSV or JSON format. So that's basic annotation. And then not only a single image, you can also annotate image pairs. So here is a screenshot of a project called the Stenosis project, in which clinicians were interested in defining attributes of image pairs. So this is the image pair. These are MRI scans. And then the clinicians, they wanted to annotate whether a medical condition called the spinal stenosis is worse in the first image or the other image. So the VIA tool was used for this project, and then they annotated image pairs very well. Not only image pairs, you can also annotate groups of images. So this is a screenshot of a project which annotated face tracks in different video frames. So I'll now show a demo of this project. So let me switch to my web browser. So face track annotation. Again, this folder contains all the images, and this is the application that we'll be using. So I open this application. Maybe I can zoom a little bit. So these are not exactly consecutive frames, but these are certain frames apart from a video. And the goal is to annotate these frames with different attributes. So on the top, I can group these frames using the attribute called track. So this is one of the tracks. This is the second track. So these are different tracks. And then for each track, I can define attributes of all the images that is contained in this track. So for example, this track contains 63 files. And then I can define attributes of all these 63 files. So I can say this is a good track, and then this track belongs to Martin Freeman. And then when I export this annotation as a CSV file, you'll see that somewhere the keyword Martin Freeman should appear. Yes, this is the one. So this track I annotated is as being good, and then MF is the keyword for Martin Freeman. So you can not only annotate single images, but you can also annotate groups of images, as I just showed you here. So switching back to my slides. So group annotation, so then this is what VIA supports as well. So VIA not only supports image annotation, but it also supports very well videos. So there are two aspects of videos that you can annotate using VIA. So the first is spatial regions. So these are the bounding boxes that you can draw on different frames of a video. And then the second is temporal segments. So these are segments of videos that you can define and describe as containing different properties. So now I'll show a demonstration of video annotation. So let's go back to the web browser. Okay. So in this folder, video annotation, I have collected a video. So this is the video that I'll be annotating. And this is the video annotation application. So note that this is also less than 400 kilobytes. So I'm opening this application in a new browser window. So this is the video annotation application. As we did before, so the first step is to load the video. So I'm selecting this video. And I can play this video.
Forrest Whitaker, welcome to Hard Talk.
It's great to be here.
So before I can define attributes or metadata to this video, I have to define the attributes that I'm interested in. So in this video, I want to define the video segments where the host is speaking and then where the guest speaker is speaking. So I want to perform speaker diaries, and this is the technical name. So let's say I want to define who the speaker is at any instant of time. So I'm creating this attribute, and I'm saying that this attribute belongs to temporal segment of a video. And once I've done it, I reload this file. And then at the bottom, you can see that this is where I can define the temporal segments. So there are two things that I want to define. One is the host, and the other is the guest. And note that I'm using my keyboard a lot. So when I press space,
Forrest Whitaker, welcome to Hard Talk.
It's great to be here with you.
The video starts to play. I can press shortcuts like number pad 1 to go back 1 second. And
Forrest Whitaker, welcome to Hard Talk.
So it gets some time to get used to the keyboard shortcuts, but once you know these, it becomes very easy to perform annotation.
Forrest Whitaker, welcome to Hard Talk.
So now I'll define the temporal segment for the host. I'm going back 1 second, and I press the key A, that is to add a new temporal segment. And you'll notice that in the bottom, a new temporal segment has been added. I play the video.
Forrest Whitaker, welcome to Hard Talk.
And I pause here. And I extend this newly added segment to the current time by pressing Shift A, sorry. Yeah, it's difficult to remember the shortcuts. But Shift A, the segment has been extended to the current timeline. Now when I play this
Forrest
video,
Whitaker, welcome to Hard Talk. Forrest Whitaker, welcome to Hard Talk.
you'll notice that I have marked the segment where the host is speaking. Now I play
Forrest
it again.
Whitaker, welcome to Hard Talk.
It's great to be here with you.
Okay, now I want to mark the guest. So I go back 1 second and I add a new segment. I have to select host here. And I add a new segment.
Great to be here with you.
I think this is already sufficient.
Great to be here with you. Great to be here with you.
Yeah. So I have marked both the temporal segments, which says when the host is speaking and when the guest is speaking. So this is a basic demo, but you must have got the idea that you can do this type of annotation task very easily. The next thing I wanted to show is you can also annotate regions, frames in a video, and mark them, and then also describe them in exactly the ways that I showed you before in image annotation. So the video frames are no different to images.
Mainstream popular films like Rogue One, the Star Wars story, and also The Great Debaters back in 2007 about Black students striving for equality.
So I'm now marking the reason for the host. So you'll see these two dots, they denote that I've defined spatial regions in these frames. So once all this is done, you can again export everything in a CSV format. So I'm exporting it in a CSV format and opening it in a text editor. So this is the video file name that we are annotating. This is the temporal segment. So from 0.48 second to 2.12 second, it was the host who was speaking. And then from 2.5 to 3.5 second, it was the guest who was speaking. So these are the temporal segments. Now the next two lines contains the spatial regions of the frame. So in a frame located at 8.7 seconds, this is the rectangular region that contains the guest. I forgot to mark the other one as host, but you get the idea. You can change the attribute there. So let me close this window and then switch back to my slides. Okay. So that was a demonstration of the video annotation. VIA also allows you to manage subtitles of a video. So subtitles are used a lot, and a lot of people want to edit or manage their subtitles. So let's see another demo for subtitle annotation. So I go back to the browser again. So note that everything is happening in a web browser. So I go to this folder for subtitle annotation. Again, this has the video file and the application that will be used for the subtitle annotation. So I'm opening the demo in a new tab. So maybe I'm using the browser's zoom feature to make the text bigger. So on the right-hand side, you'll see the video that I'm annotating right now.
We have one of the most challenging assignments
So I can again press space to
that has ever been.
and pause. On the left-hand side, you see a list of text. So these are the subtitle text. So the first one is from 29 millisecond to 889 milliseconds. So this is the first subtitle, and then all the subtitles are shown here. And at the bottom, you see a graphical representation of the subtitle. So you can select these, you can move them around, you can resize, and then you can delete them. You can also edit the text here. So you can edit the text. And then you'll notice that the edited version gets updated in the video. So
Aeronautical and space activities for peaceful and.
so you can see what you're doing when you are reviewing the video. You can move around the timeline, and then you can also add a new.
Been assigned the mission of launch.
You can add new items by pressing A, and then describing the text in it. And then the text gets updated here. Finally, once you are done, you can export the annotation in the web VTT format. So this is quite a popular format for subtitle text. And then you can export it. Again, it's a text file. So you can see this is the VTT format, and then this is the change that I made, if you remember. So that's subtitle annotation. So going back to my slides, the VIA set of tools, all the tools, image annotation, video annotation, subtitle annotation, all of them, they support collaborative annotation. So this is a feature which allows a group of people to incrementally and independently annotate a large collection of images or videos. In the main VIA user interface, you'll see these three buttons that is highlighted in the blue text. So these are the three buttons that allows you to share a project and then collaborate on a project. This feature has proved very useful for a lot of public and private data sets who have been using crowdsourced platform for annotating large sets of data. So far, around 5,000 shared projects has been created, and there are more than 50,000 revisions for these projects. There are 4 steps to create a collaborative project. The first is to add images. And then the second is to push this image to our servers. And once you have pushed the project, you can write to your colleagues or human annotators, sharing the project ID and asking them for help with the annotation. And once they have done, you can pull the project and then get all the annotation metadata. So I think we have some time. Let's see. Yeah. So I'd like to demonstrate this feature as well. So I need a volunteer here for this feature. So any of the new DPhil students, if they could volunteer here, I'd really appreciate it. So anyone interested in volunteering? Please unmute your mic and say.
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay. Can you please share your email address with me in the chat window? Let's see where, or if it is short, you can just say, I can type it in my email client.
And do Bruno.
So Bruno
At
robots.
You can do core bar at robots.
Okay. Is that okay?
No.
Sorry, can you see my email text there?
Yep. Reply. Change Bruno to core bar. KORBAR. Sorry.
KORBAR.
Yes. Yep.
So it's KORBAR, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So sorry, what's your name?
Bruno.
Okay. Yeah. So Bruno, I'll create a shared project now, and then I'll send you an email. So just give me a minute. So, okay. I go back to the level collaborative annotation. So I again open this in a new tab. So this is the same interface. So I will add this URL to this project. So I'm adding this URL here. Okay. I do one annotation, and then I'll expect Bruno to do the next one. So as I said, you have to push the project. So I push the project, and you'll see here that the revision 1 has been done. You can also see the details here. So it shows that it has 1 revision, and this is the project ID. So now with Bruno, I'm going to share this project ID or email. I've already attached the application here. So this 389 kilobytes application. So I'm sending it to Bruno now. Okay, so Bruno must have got it. And then I'll wait for him to say that he has received the email.
No, got that in my email.
Okay. So let me verify that I've sent it to the right address. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
So can you please check if the email address is correct? So it is KORBAR.
Yeah.
@
That's correct.
So maybe, if you can refresh your client, I think it will take a few seconds more. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it's just worth flagging the robot's mail server can be very slow. If you have like a Gmail or...
Okay. Anyway, okay. So I'll let Bruno wait for the email, and then I'll move on. And then when Bruno receives an email, he'll let me know, so we can pause and see what he has done. Is that okay, Bruno?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, thank you. So going back to the slides. So if you remember, these are the steps that I followed. So first I added the images, then I pushed the project. I sent an email to Bruno with the project ID. And now I'm waiting for the fourth step. So the next part of the presentation is where I show you how VIA tools are being used in research. If you have any questions, please stop me and ask me. So we move on. The first project is the scoliosis project. So this is a collaboration between VGG and the University of Bristol, in which clinicians as well as researchers, they are annotating X-ray scans, as shown here in the screenshot, from the UK Biobank dataset. And then we extended the VIA application to suit the specific requirements of this project, because they required to define these 9 feature points, and then finally measure the angle of the spine. As you see here, it is 128.6 degrees. So we had to extend the VIA software for this specific purpose. And they also wanted to define different attributes of this X-ray, which you can see on the right-hand side. So this is the first project that I wanted to say. The second is the chimpanzee project. So this is the collaboration between VGG and Oxford's Department of Anthropology, in which the anthropologists, they are creating an annotated video data set that shows some named chimpanzee performing some action like cracking a nut. So in the screenshot here on the left-hand side, you see these are the actions of the chimpanzee named Pele. So one of these chimpanzees is named Pele, and I don't know which one is it. But if you ask to the anthropologists, they will say definitely the left one is Pele, but they are very good at recognizing them. So they are annotating when they perform, these chimpanzees are performing some action, and then they are using the VIA tools, as you see on the bottom hand side of the screenshot. The third example is from the insect annotation dataset. So we are creating this dataset by annotating videos of insects feeding on flowers. And then the goal is to create an automatic detection and tracking pipeline for insects, and to analyze their feeding behavior. So this project uses the publicly released version of VIA Video Annotator. And then we didn't have to extend or make any changes for this project. The fourth one is the VGG sound dataset that Hongli is upgrading by adding new metadata to the existing dataset. And he's using the list annotator tool, or LISA for short, to annotate different video frames and then mark out the regions that contains objects that are producing sound. So he's using this tool right now. The fifth one is the sign language dataset. So there are various projects using this tool right now, in which human experts in sign language are assessing the correctness of sign spotting predictions in videos, as you see on the left-hand side in the screenshot here. So there are 3 videos, and then the human annotator is marking them as whether they are correct or not. And if they are incorrect, they are defining what is the correct keyword that the signer is displaying. For this project, we had to extend the VIA to suit the requirements of this project. The sixth example is the MOCA dataset. So this is moving camouflage animal dataset that Hala and her team are preparing. So they use the VIA tool to annotate video frames containing camouflage animals. So they use the publicly released version of VIA tool for this annotation. We didn't have to do any extension to VIA for this. And then the final one is the Vox Converse dataset. So the Vox Converse dataset team, they are using VIA in a semi-automatic pipeline for creating speaker diarization dataset. And then they are using the publicly released version of VIA video annotator. So no changes needed for this project. And then I can keep on going with the list of how many projects are using it, but that's not the main point. So the main message of this whole talk is this, that if you are building a data set, it is highly likely that the features that you need are already present in the publicly released version of VIA. If not, if you find that something is missing in VIA that you need, you can easily extend the VIA tools to suit your requirements. If you are unable to extend the VIA tools, you can ask us. We can definitely extend it to suit your requirements. So this is the main goal of this presentation, to let you all know that VIA tool exists and then it is open for extension. So here I'm summarizing the features of the tool that I've shown so far. Okay. So hello, Bruno. Did you get my email?
Yes, and I made a small change.
Oh, great. Okay, so you already knew what to do.
It seemed simple.
Okay, that's good. So let me check what was the project ID. So let's see. Okay. So Bruno has done his work. Now I'm pulling the project. So I click here and I put the project ID and I open it. And I see that someone has helped me. So Bruno, thank you very much for doing this annotation.
Thank you.
So you just saw that the first bounding box, that was me, I drew it. And then the second one was drawn by Bruno. I can change it, I can leave it like that. And then the main point is that if you have 1 million images, you can split them into, say, 1,000 parts and send it to 1,000 human annotators, and then you can get all of them done in a relatively short period of time. And then this has been a very useful feature of VIA. So going back to my slides, you must have noticed that all the applications that I demonstrated, they all run in a web browser. So to run this application, you don't need anything other than a web browser. And it runs as an offline application. So you don't need to be connected to the internet. So this feature is very critical for some applications. So I get a lot of email from people asking whether when they upload an image to the VIA annotator, whether we send it to a server or do something with it, because they are concerned about the sensitive nature of the images that they are annotating. So for those applications also, this feature is very important. So when you annotate images using VIA, the images as well as your annotations, they will remain in your computer unless you share it with someone else. So that's guaranteed. The second one is that the complete application, we have been developing it since 2016, and we don't use any external libraries, and then therefore we are able to optimize everything to fit in a very small application. So that's nearly 400 kilobytes. And then you can send it over email to your colleagues, and everything works in a web browser. VIA is an open source project, so the full source code and then all the documentation is available in a Git repository. And then there is no restrictions on how you can use it. You can use it for research or you can use it for commercial applications. So feel free to do whatever you want to do with this software. As we just saw, it supports collaborative annotation, and I really like this feature because manual annotation is not a very exciting job, and then if you can distribute the burden of doing manual annotation over different human annotators, it's very useful and very helpful. And then finally, the VGG is committed to developing, maintaining, and supporting this software at least until 2025, and then beyond that as well. So you can be assured that the software will be supported and then maintained for the next 5 years. A lot of people are using it, and that's what makes us happy. So since we released it in early 2017, nearly 4 million times the software has been used. And this number does not count the number of times VIA has been used as an offline application, because we don't know when you use it as an offline application. So there are much more number of users of this software. We are always working to improve this software in different ways. Currently, we are thinking about these two things. The first is to run deep models like object detectors and object trackers in web browsers to help human annotators perform their job more quickly and then more efficiently. So that's the first goal we are trying to work on. The second is we want to support mobile devices and tablets. So currently, although you have web browsers in your mobile phone, you can use VIA in your mobile phone, but the user interface is not well designed for these mobile devices. So we want to work to make it fit for mobile devices. And then drawing bounding boxes is extremely easy on mobile devices. So we think this will make the software more useful for a lot of people. So that's it. That's all about VIA. You can ask me any questions that you may have. You can also visit these websites to get source code and learn more about this software. So that's it. Thank you. Please let me know if you have any questions. Back to you, Vicky.